As the last wisps of daylight surrendered to the all-consuming darkness, the forest stirred. Trees, once passive sentinels, now twisted and groaned, their bark wrinkling like aged skin. The air was heavy with anticipation, as if the very fabric of reality was about to unravel. In the heart of this turmoil, a figure emerged. Ira, a woman with hair as black as the night, and eyes that shone like stars, moved with purpose. Her footsteps were silent on the rustling underbrush, her gaze fixed upon the ancient, gnarled tree at the forest's center. Rumors whispered that this tree, the elder, held the secrets of the balance. It was said that its roots delved deep into the earth, sipping the primal forces that shaped the world. Ira had spent years searching for the elder, driven by an insatiable hunger to understand the essence of the cosmos. Tonight, she had finally found it. With each step, the forest grew more turbulent. Branches snapped, and leaves swirled around her like a maelstrom. Ira's eyes gleamed with an otherworldly intensity as she reached the elder's massive trunk. The air was alive with electricity, as if the very balance of nature teetered on the brink of collapse. Her fingers, long and slender, reached out to touch the elder's rough bark. The tree's energy pulsed through her, a primal power that coursed like liquid moonlight through her veins. The wind howled, a chorus of ancient voices, as Ira closed her eyes and breathed in the secrets of the universe. The visions came, a cascade of images that ravaged her mind. She saw the birth of stars and the death of worlds, the eternal dance of creation and destruction. The balance, she realized, was not a fixed point, but a delicate pivot, teetering between the forces of light and darkness. As she stood there, the forest around her began to change. The trees, once twisted and gnarled, now straightened, their branches untangling like grasping fingers. The wind died, and an unnerving silence fell, as if the very forest was holding its breath. Ira's eyes snapped open, her gaze burning with an inner fire. She saw the threads of destiny, the intricate web of fate that bound all living things. And in that moment, she knew what she had to do. The balance, she realized, was not just a concept, but a living, breathing entity, and it was dying. With a newfound sense of purpose, Ira turned from the elder, her footsteps quiet on the transformed forest floor. The trees, once again, seemed to lean in, their branches tangling above her, as if to escort her on her journey. The darkness itself seemed to unfold before her, a path lit by the faint, ethereal glow of the stars. As she walked, the forest deepened, the trees growing taller and the shadows darker. The air thickened with an otherworldly energy, as if the very fabric of reality was conspiring to aid her quest. Ira's senses heightened, her footsteps quiet on the loam-covered path. She navigated the twisting trail with an unnerving certainty, as if the forest itself was guiding her toward the heart of the imbalance. The trees parted, and a lake of black glass stretched before her, its surface unbroken by even a single ripple. The stars above reflected perfectly, a mirrored universe, as if the cosmos itself was contained within the lake's dark waters. Ira approached the water's edge, her reflection staring back, her eyes burning with an inner fire. A figure emerged from the trees behind her, its presence announced by the soft rustle of leaves and the sweet, heavy scent of decay. Ira did not turn, her gaze fixed upon the lake's dark beauty. The figure, tall and imposing, its features indistinct, moved to stand beside her. "The balance," it whispered, its voice a sigh on the wind. "It is broken. The scales, once poised, now hang precariously, threatened by the encroaching darkness." Ira's reflection rippled, as if the lake itself was responding to the figure's words. Her eyes, however, did not waver, her gaze locked upon the water's dark heart. "I know," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the silence. "I have seen the threads of fate. I know what must be done." The figure, its presence looming large beside her, did not respond. Its silence, however, was answer enough. It knew, as Ira knew, that the path ahead would be fraught with peril, that the balance, once broken, could never be truly restored. Yet, they stood there, side by side, united in their determination to attempt the impossible. The figure, its features still indistinct, reached out a hand, and Ira felt a strange, unsettling energy emanate from its fingertips. The lake's surface, once a perfect mirror, began to ripple, as if the darkness itself was stirring. The stars above, reflected in the water, seemed to pulse with a malevolent power, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. "We must find the keystones," the figure whispered, its voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "3 ancient artifacts, crafted from the essence of the universe. They hold the power to restore the balance, to reset the scales." Ira's gaze, still fixed upon the lake, did not waver. Her eyes, burning with an inner fire, seemed to be drawing energy from the darkness itself. "I know of the keystones," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the growing turmoil. "I have seen them, glimpsed in the threads of fate. But where are they hidden?" The figure's presence, looming large beside her, seemed to shift, as if it was reorienting itself to the task ahead. "The first keystone lies in the abyss of eternity," it whispered, its voice carrying on the wind. "A chasm so deep, it pierces the very heart of the earth. The second keystone is hidden within the citadel of the ancients, a fortress of forgotten knowledge, guarded by the sentinels of the past." Ira's reflection, rippling upon the lake's surface, seemed to nod, as if she was acknowledging the challenge ahead. "And the third?" she whispered, her voice trembling with anticipation. The figure's presence seemed to grow, its darkness deepening, as if it was drawing energy from the very fabric of reality. "The third keystone lies within the realm of the Shadow King," it whispered, its voice heavy with foreboding. "A realm of darkness, where the shadows themselves are alive, and the very concept of light is a distant memory." The lake's surface, once a perfect mirror, began to churn, as if the darkness itself was responding to the figure's words. Ira's eyes, burning with an inner fire, seemed to be drawing energy from the turmoil, her determination to restore the balance growing with each passing moment. The wind, heavy with portent, rustled the leaves of the ancient trees, as if the forest itself was warning of the perils to come. Ira's gaze, still fixed upon the lake, did not waver, her eyes burning with an unyielding determination. "I will find the keystones," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the growing turmoil. "I will restore the balance, no matter the cost." The figure, its presence looming large beside her, seemed to nod, its darkness deepening, as if it was acknowledging her resolve. "Then let us begin," it whispered, its voice carried on the wind. "The abyss of eternity awaits, and the first keystone lies within its depths." As the figure spoke, the lake's surface seemed to split, a dark, yawning chasm opening before them. The air grew colder, heavy with the scent of damp earth and forgotten secrets. Ira felt the weight of her quest settling upon her shoulders, the burden of restoring the balance a crushing responsibility. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, the abyssal void swallowing her whole. The darkness closed around her, a living, breathing entity that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As she descended, the silence was absolute, the only sound the soft rustle of her footsteps echoing off the abyssal walls. The air grew colder, the darkness deepening, until Ira felt as if she was walking through the very heart of the underworld. And yet, she pressed on, driven by her determination to restore the balance. The abyss, seemingly endless, finally yielded to a cavern of twisted rock, its walls glinting with an otherworldly energy. At the cavern's center, upon a pedestal of black stone, lay the first keystone. Ira's eyes, burning with an inner fire, locked onto the keystone, her heart pounding in anticipation. The darkness, sensing her proximity to the artifact, seemed to grow more turbulent, as if the very fabric of reality was warning her away. Undeterred, Ira reached out, her hand closing around the keystone. The cavern erupted into chaos, the rock walls shuddering, as if the abyss itself was protesting her possession of the artifact. The darkness, once a living, breathing entity, now coalesced into a palpable force, a maelstrom of energy that threatened to consume her. Ira, her grip on the keystone unwavering, felt the power of the artifact coursing through her veins. The cavern, once a twisted, nightmarish realm, began to dissolve, its walls melting like wax in a furnace. As the last remnants of the cavern vanished, Ira found herself back in the heart of the forest, the elder tree looming above her, its branches tangled in a canopy of darkness. The figure, its presence still looming large beside her, seemed to nod in approval. "The first keystone is yours," it whispered, its voice a sigh on the wind. "But the journey has only just begun. The citadel of the ancients awaits, and the second keystone lies within its walls." Ira's gaze, still fixed upon the keystone, seemed to burn with an inner fire, as if the artifact was awakening a power within her. Her eyes, once a deep, piercing green, now shone like stars, illuminating the darkness. "I am ready," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rustling of the leaves. "I will claim the second keystone, no matter the cost." The figure, its presence still looming large beside her, seemed to nod, its darkness deepening, as if it was acknowledging her resolve. "Then let us proceed," it whispered, its voice carried on the wind. "The citadel of the ancients awaits, and the second keystone lies within its walls. But be warned, Ira, the guardians of the past will not give up their secrets easily." As the figure spoke, the forest around them began to shift, the trees seeming to twist and writhe like living serpents. The air grew colder, heavy with the scent of aged parchment and forgotten knowledge. Ira felt the weight of her quest settling upon her shoulders, the burden of restoring the balance growing with each passing moment. With the keystone still clutched in her hand, she stepped forward, the forest parting before her like a dark, velvety curtain. The citadel of the ancients, its walls glinting with an otherworldly energy, rose before her, its gates yawning open like the maw of a beast. Ira, her heart pounding in anticipation, stepped into the unknown, the darkness closing behind her like a shroud.